You've been asking the wrong question. Why do I always have to be the bigger person? And that's really asking, why do I have to act like Jesus? And when you ask it that way, it changes everything. Stay with us. What's up, Conversation Nation? It's your girl, LaMeka.
And this is Ed here.
And we are ready for another episode of Let's Talk About It, where we do what?
We talking about a whole lot of stuff. Now, what we really want to do is try to take difficult, hard subjects, apply to the Bible, make it practical and applicable for you in your everyday life. So what we really just want to do is make this thing real. And not just make it something that's in the book, but something that you can apply to your life. And I think we got some real stuff to apply to your life today. Look here. Here's the question. Here's really the statement. Loving like Jesus is not comfortable.
It's not.
It's not comfortable. And have you ever asked yourself or found yourself asking, why do I have to be the bigger person? You know, when Man them and Lil Trey and Lil Mo them or Bobby, Ricky and Mike or whoever.
Wow, not the new edition.
Whoever
like this.
But as soon as somebody wrongs you, takes advantage of you, there has to be some apology. There has to be some forgiveness. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I always got to be the bigger person?
I definitely have.
Okay.
Not so much now, but definitely in the past, I got tired of it. I asked myself that question all the time because it seemed like I was always the one reconciling, always the one reaching out, always the one trying to make peace. Something to go bad, somebody will do me wrong, and then I feel like I'm the one to have to reach out to reconcile the relationship. I'm the one that have to reach out to say, hey, things didn't go right, let's fix that. And after a while, sometimes it was me. I'm not gonna play like it was everybody else.
Okay, we're gonna admit that because sometimes we like to think it's everybody else, but sometimes
right.
It was you. Okay.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say it was always somebody else. Sometimes it was me, and then I'm like, yeah, here we go. I go fix that. It was easier to fix those situations, but when it was somebody else that did the wrong thing, it's like, why do I have to? And yeah, it was a little difficult. And I remember one particular time. This person did something and I was good, right? Because my cold shoulder game is
tight.
Is strong.
It's
Listen,
strong.
I will walk in a room, act like you invisible and won't ever have to talk to you again. And sometimes I be really missing people like, nope, you would never know that I missed you by my actions because I can cold shoulder you just that good. And I remember this one particular time somebody was cutting up and I was like, yep, and that's it. They cut off and I'm good. And the Lord was like, yeah, I need you to go fix that. And I was like, absolutely not.
Oops, you told the Lord. Now, how many of y'all ever told the Lord, absolutely not? Okay, go ahead. I just had to throw that in.
Right, I was like, absolutely not. I am not. And he was like, yeah, go fix that. And I was like, why I always got to be the bigger person? Why I'm always the one? He said, well, would you rather be a small person? Would you rather be a little person? Would you rather be that petty? And I was like, well, I don't even know what you're getting at with that. What you mean, would I rather be a little person? Like sometimes I don't want to take the high road all the time. And when I'm trying to have this conversation with him, he says, yeah, but everybody don't have the same heart you have. Everybody don't have the same mindset you have. And those people that you looking down upon or that you look at like they should know better and do better, they don't have that mindset. Do you want to be one of those people that people look at and be like, she should know better and do better?
Ooh.
And when you know better, you should do better. And he was like, LaMeka, you know better. I'm going to need you to do better. And I was like, dang, okay. It was a little difficult, but yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially, I think, like you said, especially when it's not your fault and our expectation is always for, what you did wrong. You know how you treated me. You know what I did for you and you didn't do back for me.
Right, that part.
And now you want to act like this. Those be the most difficult ones because that's when the cold shoulder game can get real cold and real tight. and real significant.
Right, because I'm going to show you better than I can tell you, or you going to need me before I need you.
Right. And it's one of those, like, if you've ever had to apologize or felt like you apologized or forgave somebody out there, put that in the comments. I love to hear some of them stories in the comments.
Yes, those moments where you know you wasn't wrong, but you had to apologize. You know what? Just to keep the peace, like, you know what? I'm sorry. I apologize. Now, and all of me on the inside be like, they should be apologizing to me.
Exactly. But I think even the bigger question as we're examining like this apology, or why do I have to ask forgiveness, or why do I have to initiate the forgiveness? Why do I have to initiate the apology? Why do I have to initiate the reconciliation? Where did that feeling? How did you feel when you had to do it? I know you told Jesus, you're not really talking to me right now, Jesus. But
Like,
how do you guys feel when you have to make that first step?
Okay, so I'll answer, then I'll let you.
Okay.
So it depends, right? So in certain situations, it's like, it's a lot of anger and frustration. It's because I know that I'm not wrong. And it's like, this person, if I go and make that first step, then it's kind of like I'm admitting a fault that I didn't have. And then they're gonna feel like they're right. They're gonna feel like, yeah, I'm all right. And then they won't take accountability. And that's one of the things I hate. I absolutely dislike. It creams my corn.
The corn is being creamed.
Yes, churns my butter when people don't take accountability for their actions. Like, we too big. You know what you did. Like, stop sitting here in denial. It really bothers me. And so that's one of the things. And then also, y'all, I'm gonna just slide this one on in here. You're gonna get that one for free. Another thing that bothers me about stepping up and being the bigger person and going and reconciling and all that stuff is fear of rejection. It's because they haven't made an effort to come fix things with me, even though they were wrong. Yeah. In this case, we're not talking about the times when I was wrong. Even when they were wrong, in this case, they haven't made an effort. I'm gonna take that chance and that risk to go make this effort to reconcile. And knowing that they haven't tried to or haven't initiated anything, they can very well be like, no, I'm done with you. I don't even want to try. And then that's rejection. And that's one of the issues that I've dealt with my entire life, a fear of rejection. So whenever I'm making that step to reconcile or be that bigger person and be that first one to reach out, I have to already in my mind, battle with that fear of rejection, get that together, and know that even if they don't accept it, I'm still doing what God told me to do. So then that frees me of anything else.
Now, we got a whole other podcast where we talked about fear of rejection, but you are absolutely right. I would say the same thing. Like, those feelings, if I have to go apologize, if I have to make the first move to reconcile this thing, I think the greatest fear that I would have also is that fear of rejection. Fear of what if they say no? Fear of what if they continue to try to blame me? Because I'm the same way. It's really goofy that I'm the same way that I'm a person that takes some accountability. When I mess up, I'm the first to say, you know what, I messed up. My bad. I messed up. We're going to fix it this way. And then when other people don't take that accountability, it's like, yeah, I don't know if it creams my corn or churn my butter, but it works with me. It does work with me a little bit. And so that whole fear of rejection, that whole fear of me looking like I was wrong when you was wrong, or something that I didn't mess up. That whole fear of how are they going to view me? How are they going to see me? See, from a male point of view, it's a little bit, it can be a little bit
ego
different.
In there,
because
pride.
It's ego, it's pride. I ain't no punk. You look
soft.
Here. You soft. Yeah, bro. There's a little bit more when you throw that male testosterone, that male ego in there, and then you have to then humble yourself, lower yourself, and then is this going to be used against me later?
That's a good one.
Is this going to? Are these people? Is this going to be? Am I going to be the butt of the jokes? How are people going to view? So it's kind of that fear of rejection, but it's also that that goes along with it, how are people going to view me? How are they going to talk about me? Will they respect me? Like, in our male culture, respect is a huge thing. And a lot of time, people think you get more respect by digging deeper.
Right, being tough, being hard.
You dig deeper in your position instead of actually working with people, instead of actually talking it out. Digging deeper is seen as a better sign of strength or respect versus actually reconciling. And so there's a whole different kind of dynamic when you're talking about two males than you talking about like a male and a female. And sometimes males, we take that to our relationships with women. Like even, I have to do that with my wife, and I'm just like, hey, okay, I have to humble myself. I got to come. I got to apologize and reconcile. And however, when I mess up, I definitely have to do it. I'm not saying she messing up, but when I mess up, I definitely have to do it. But like I said, in that male ego, that male, sometimes we have to get through that in order to step into that place of walking like Jesus.
Wow. And you said something, just to back up a little bit, when you said, when you mess up, you're the first one to admit it and try. That's me as well. Whenever I do something, I'm real quick to go back and get it right. I can't rest until I fix it. And so in my mind, sometimes it baffles me that like, how you sitting over here, okay, living life, right? Living life, going through all these motions, doing whatever you're doing, especially when we talked about church hurt in another episode, but especially when it's church people and you up here worshiping and praising God and acting like you super saint. And you gonna cut up real bad and ain't apologize or anything. And I can say something that I think was twisted and I don't have no peace, no rest, and I have to go get it right away. I be at war in my mind like, Jesus, get your people. And he had that still goes back to everybody don't think like you think. Everybody don't.
And here's the other thing that always stands out to me. People judge themselves by their actions. Or they judge other people by their actions. They judge themselves by their intentions. And so even when a lot of times people don't even realize what they've done because maybe I didn't intend to. And so instead of looking at the whole thing, or I may have had good intentions, but my actions wasn't good.
Right.
We always rest on our own intentions, but then we look at other people's actions without even getting to know their why.
Well, they should act right.
They should act
right. I'm just joking, but that's true. We do that. We look at what you did versus why you did it because we don't know your why unless we ask. We know our why behind things. And so I think that's a good point that you make, because a lot of times just assume positive intent before you just judge an action. Assume that they had a positive intent behind it, unless it's something egregious, y'all. But but assume positive intent, because I guarantee you that will eliminate a lot of offenses.
That will eliminate a lot of offenses. Now, as we're kind of moving through this, I want us to understand what it really means to walk like Jesus, because here's the thing, y'all. And what Jesus said to be a disciple, because here's the thing we got to know. Whenever I ask myself, why do I have to be the bigger person? Whenever I ask myself, whenever I put, why do I have to, and you fill in the blanks, whether it's apologize, forgive, be the bigger person, always take the high road, what you're really asking yourself, if you're a follower of Christ, I'm just going to put the big if out there. If you are a follower of Christ, if you want to be a follower of Christ, the question that you're really asking yourself is, why do I have to act like Jesus?
Wow. Yeah.
I want y'all to think about that. You're really saying, well, why do I have to? Instead of putting in what you want to put in there, why do I have to act like Jesus? Why do I have to be like Jesus? Because Jesus should have said, why I got to die for them? They don't even like me.
Right.
Why do I have to reconcile? Why do I have to heal? Remember the 10 people he healed and only one person came back? And now he only knew one was coming back. Why do I have to heal these 10 people, folks, these ungrateful people, knowing that only one gonna come back?
And say thank you.
And say
why? Listen, that's deep.
Listen.
And we, for real. And when you think about that, it's like, we over here wrestling with forgiving somebody that looked at us sideways, that maybe told a lie on us. And Jesus was on the cross asking God to forgive the people that was killing him.
Yes.
crucifying him.
And what if he said, God, why I gotta forgive them? They killing me. And
like, didn't you just see him pierce me in my side?
Right.
I ain't forgiving that, but he was still forgiven. He still said, forgive them.
Forgive them. And so I want us to take a look at Matthew chapter 16. It's really interesting. Starting at verse 24, he talked about being a disciple. And he said, in Matthew chapter 16, verse 24 says, then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Now, these are three huge things. Like, when we're talking about why do I have to, if you desire to come after, if you have a true desire somewhere in your heart to come after Jesus, to follow Jesus, to want to be like Jesus, to submit yourself to Jesus, you got to look at Matthew 16 and 24 wholeheartedly.
Right.
Not just I said a prayer and I believe, but he said, not just saying a prayer and you believe, but if you're going to be my disciple. And when you think of the word disciple, I want you to think of the word discipline. If I'm going to have the same discipline, if I'm going to have the same character, if I'm going to have the same personality or walk like he did and then do the exploitations like he did, there's something that's going to cost me. And the first thing he said is, if you're going to come after me, let him deny himself. When you hear that, LaMeka, look at
I was going to say, we can stop right there. We don't even got to get to take up your cross and the follow me part. We can stop right at the deny yourself, because I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up. Like, we can't even get to the taking up our cross part because we still haven't denied ourselves yet. And when you truly deny yourself, something like being a bigger person and reaching out first ain't even going to be a problem, because you're not worried about pride, egos, rejection, and none of that. It's just, I got to make this right. I got to seek peace. I have to live in peace, because that's what Jesus told us to do. God commanded us. When all possible, whenever possible, make peace with all men, live in peace with all men, seek peace and pursue it. Those are things in the Bible. So when I'm thinking about being the bigger person, because that's what we're talking about today. Why do I always have to be the bigger person? That statement would never come out of my mouth if I'm endeavoring to live like him and I'm in denying myself. All of my emotions, all of my fears, all of my angst, all of my issues, all of my thoughts won't even be there. And that's pretty hard, because even though we may not look at it this way, we always say God been there all the time. Like, he's been with me all the time, my whole life. When I look back, hindsight is 20/20. We can look back and see God's hand on everything, but in the moments, we don't feel God all the time in everything. And sometimes when you get in certain situations, you don't look to God for guidance. You fall back on your own experiences. You fall back on what you know that's been tried and true and tested, especially out in these streets. Everybody don't come from the streets. Everybody don't have that background. But a lot of us do. Right. And we just have experience with people, whether it's streets or not. We have experience with people, and our experience tells us, hey, you got to protect yourself. That ain't safe. And so when it's something like being the bigger person, and I'm letting go of those boundaries and those guidelines that I've built to protect myself, then it becomes hard to deny you. You know, it's like you have to trust God and know, like, he got you. And you don't have to worry about protecting you, because he's going to protect you. But it's kind of hard to do that when you've been burned by people. So denying yourself is hard, because you want to stay leaning on your own understanding, your own, that's scripture too, your own experiences and everything, and not doing that. So that's my take on that.
I think we have to understand that when he says deny yourself, every yourself or every myself person, you got preferences. You got things that you have hurt, you have trauma. And like you said, anytime I get hurt, what I generally do is I then put in conditions around me where I won't get hurt again.
You retreat to your comfort zone.
I will tell you what I will do and what I won't do. I'll tell you how. I'll tell you what I'll say yes to, what I'll say no to, what I will let you do and what I won't let you do. Why? Because we have built conditions to try to protect ourselves from being hurt again. And part of denying yourself is you're going to have to confront every condition that you've put that you've put in place
Yes.
to try to stay quote unquote safe.
Right.
You're going to have to confront. Denying yourself says, not my will, but your will be done.
Yes.
Denying myself says, I am in this position and in this place where God, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it. Even if it makes me uncomfortable, even if I might get rejected, even if I might be taken advantage of, even if they don't appreciate it.
Listen.
Because there's a whole lot of people that you won't do nothing for because they didn't say thank you. Okay.
You didn't appreciate it the last time.
You didn't appreciate it the last time. Even if they don't pay you back. And God is saying,
that's the one right
it.
there. All your protective barriers, you got to let go.
Denying yourself is really confronting all the places that you have conditions to try and protect yourself to feel safe.
Right.
And he said, if you're going to walk in my discipline and be my disciple, the first thing you have to do is deny yourself. You have to be honest with yourself about who you are, what you will do and what you won't do, and why you won't do it.
Right.
And why you will, because God's looking at your heart. He's looking at your why. Deny myself. And then the second one, take up your cross. Now here go. First of all, deny myself says, I got some pain here that I have to confront. But taking up my cross means I got to do it. And then the pain of actually doing it, the pain of actually still potentially being rejected.
Right.
The pain of them still maybe not appreciating it. The pain of them still maybe taking advantage of you. I have to take up my cross because a lot of times, even if I want to deny myself, how many of us actually want to take up the cross?
Right.
And die?
Right. You got to die to that thing. You still got to carry it. And regardless of what all of your past experiences say, you got to push through it and you got to keep doing it anyway.
Exactly. And so taking up your cross is more than just conjecture. Taking up your cross is more than just a saying that we're saying.
Yeah, I love that conjecture. He got deep. He got deep for a second.
I got real deep. I got super deep. No. Taking up your cross requires you to experience the pain of not getting what you want. It requires you to face the pain of being hurt again, but knowing that God has you.
Yeah, I think something that really helped me with that was when my expectations changed.
Okay.
So taking up my cross and doing it anyway, and God is saying, stop looking to people to give, to bless, to be this, whatever it is. You're looking for results from them.
Yeah.
So I did this for you, and I'm looking for a thank you or help back or whatever. And God is saying, do it because I told you to do it. Don't worry about the results. I need you to do it because I told you to do it. And then they may not say anything or do anything or give anything, and just know that God sees it, and my reward is coming from Him.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm being obedient is put me in good standing with Him. I had to start reflecting and looking at that. So doing it in pain and regardless of what my mind tells me is going to happen, doing it because He said to do it.
Yeah.
And then just being obedient and let Him worry about the results. That really helped me to take up my cross. So now when I do things, when I'm a bigger person, when I apologize, when I look out for that person that I looked out for 17 times that ain't never said thank you and then messed up, they needed help with that. I need help paying this bill or this rent. And then you give it to them, and then something happened and they come back like, what happened? What you do with the money I gave you last time?
Exactly.
That ain't none of my problem.
I ain't seen none of that back.
Listen, if the Lord say do it, I'm going to do it and not even worry about that. But just knowing that He see all and that my reward is coming from Him. So I had to change my expectations in that way. And I had to change the way I looked at the results, and that I saw obedience as being the reward there and letting God take care of everything else.
I think you even get into a place, how do you, and I think you started answering kind of where we're rounding out to, is how do we even get to a place where it stops feeling like a burden and more like a calling? And I wanted to read, so we read Matthew 16 and 24, but I wanted to read all the way through 25 through 27, because here's the thing. God looks at your heart. God looks at your why. So this podcast is not about behavior modification.
Yes.
None of this part, no episode you ever watch with us will ever be about behavior modification. What it's about is heart modification.
Yes.
Because if my heart gets changed, if my heart moves, behavior follows.
Yes. If your heart's changed, your behavior changed.
And so I want to read I'm going to start at Matthew 16:24, but I'm going to read all the way through 27. And I think it'll start to help us move in this direction of how do I get through to denying myself? How do I get through the taking up my cross so that I can actually follow him and do what he said do? Because following him is really just, I'm going to do what you say do.
Right.
That's it. I'm going to live how you live. I'm going to do what you say to actually do.
Say what you say.
Because we want to give some practical stuff here. So Matthew 16:24 through 27. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it. Which means whoever desires to not deny yourself, whoever desires to save his life, to save my preferences, to save the way I think, the way I look at things, and keep how I want to live, you're going to lose it.
Yes.
But whosoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Your why has to change to doing it for his sake. For verse 26, for what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? In verse 27, for the Son of Man will come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he will reward. Everybody want a reward. Each according to his works.
Yeah.
I know works in a lot of churches is a real dirty word. It could be a nasty word in a lot of churches, but if we change our heart, our works will change. And if our heart becomes this place where I'm going to lose my life for what? His sake. Because now if I'm going to be his disciple and follow him, I'm not living for me anymore. See, that's why we have a hard time denying ourselves. Yeah. Because am I living for me or am I living for Jesus?
Right. And like he said, works can be a dirty word in some churches. I just want to make sure y'all know that works in this sense doesn't mean I can work my way into heaven. Like I do all these good things and I'm in. Like God got me. I was a good person. And because good people go to hell too, y'all. So it doesn't mean that. These works meaning that you're doing things for the right reasons, because you can do things and your heart be jacked up. But when your heart is right and you're doing things, living out, being a living example of Jesus in the earth. So my actions, my works mean my actions, the things that I do, how I live, how I talk to people, how I handle people, how I love on people, how I show up every day is in line with Jesus. That's what we mean by works in this sense.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Behavior modification has nothing to do with heart change.
Right.
And for the person who feels like they can work their way into heaven because I do good things, man, 1 Samuel 16:7 says this, man looks on the outside and God looks at the heart.
Yes.
And so for the person who feels like they can work their way into heaven, you can't work your way into heaven, because that's just behavior modification. And here's the other thing, y'all. You can only do the right things for the wrong reason for so long.
Right. Because if your heart grimy, it's going to begin to show.
Yeah.
Especially when you've been doing the right things for the wrong reason and you're not getting the results that you thought you was going to get.
Exactly.
So just like you chasing that boo and you out here whining and dining and spending money and doing all these things and you looking for a certain outcome and it don't happen. And your why isn't because you genuinely care about this person, but because you're trying to get something. Eventually, you gonna quit doing what you've been doing, or you gonna start saying some things. It's gonna switch up because you can only do it for so long.
That is an excellent example. Out here doing stuff for people because your why is wrong. So so behavior modification isn't what we're talking about. When my heart modifies and it says, I did what I did for God. My why was to please the Father, and my why wasn't so I can get something from you. Or my why isn't because you have something I need, something I want, something I desire. So if I treat you a certain way, then I'll get it from you. But when my why is simply to please the Father, your works will follow. So when Jesus says works, it's not just what you do, it's why you do.
Yes.
Because this subject is wild here, because watch this. You can do a lot of right things and still not deny yourself.
True. Oh, definitely.
You can be doing the right things where people see you, and you can be doing the right things where people say, oh, they're such a good person and they're such a good this. And the Holy Spirit is talking to you saying, deny yourself in this area, and you're not denying yourself in that area. So a lot of times we'll perform for people and they think, and because of you're a good this or you're that, we think that we're doing good in the sight of God, but God is looking at our heart.
Listen. And also with that, it could be the good thing versus the God thing. You're doing the good thing, but you're not doing what God called you to do. And so he called you to go work over here and do this thing, but that's a little harder. It's a little tougher. It costs more of me. It's going to really cost me to deny myself, because it's going to take up some different type of time. It's going to challenge me in a different kind of way. So I'm going to do the easy thing over here, and it's a good thing. And so people are praising you like, oh my God, you're excelling and it's great. And God is like, yeah, but I didn't tell you to do that.
Exactly.
You still haven't denied you, and you can be making an impact in the kingdom, blessing people's lives, but you still haven't denied yourself and did the thing that God told you to do. So that's for somebody out here listening. Are you in purpose? Are you walking in your purpose and doing what God told you to do? Or are you doing that easy thing?
Because, and here's the thing though, here's the easy thing you're only going to be able to do for so long. See, because the God thing will feed you. The good thing is going to drain you. So there's a lot of us doing good things, but not the God thing. And eventually that good thing is going to drain me. I'm going to get tired of it. I'm going to be over it. And sick of it.
You won't be fulfilled.
You won't be fulfilled.
And that's why it drains you, because it's not filling you. Thank you, Jesus. Holy Spirit just dropped that. So it's not filling you. And so I've run into some people that's like, oh my God, today was a hard day. It was long. It was draining. But they can't wait to get up and go do it again the next day. Then there's other people that are in things, and it wasn't me. Listen, before I became executive pastor at this church, I was working in corporate America. And my job, I could actually do in my sleep. Like when I tell you I was getting paid real good. I had built a great system at work where I can go in, the system would just work itself. It was very easy. But I will be so tired and exhausted at the end of the day. I'll be so drained and so dreading to go in the next day. And I was performing. I was working at my store that I had was number one. We built it. I opened. We got a little rhythm in place. I was number one until I left. And it was like, oh my God, you're doing such an amazing job. But I was not being fulfilled. It was not. I was pouring things out, and it was not giving me anything in return. So I was definitely doing a good thing, but I wasn't doing what God really had called me to do. And I'm like, yeah, something got to give, because it was stressful, but it was different. And so it's like, no, I gotta get out of here eventually. This isn't it. And when I made that transition, and it's like a total different thing, a total different level. Stress is different. People are different. Yeah, I lost some couple dollars, but God is a provider, right? He's been sustaining me. I'm flourishing, and it's just amazing now. But it's like, yeah, I get up and it's like, okay. And I'm ready because I'm being fulfilled. It's pouring into me as I'm giving out. Where I was just giving. It was just taking. It wasn't giving anything in return. So that's how the good thing can drain you, because eventually while you're doing that and you're not being poured into, you'll be depleted and you won't have anything else to give until you're forced to say, okay, God, what you need me to do.
And you have people who have tons of money and no fulfillment because they did what they did to get paid. but it's not what God called them to do. And so if you're walking around with no purpose, no fulfillment, we may even put the shape test in here. We have this thing called the shape test. You can fill that out. You can even fill it out, send it to us. We'll tell you how to send it to you. We would be happy to talk to you and help you and find that space where you can get out. But to help you find that space to get out of that unfulfilling place.
Right. Identify your purpose to help identify that.
Exactly. And get to that place where God wants you to be. But here's the biggest question as we kind of wind down. The biggest question I want us to answer is, why do I always got to be the bigger person?
Right. Why do I have to act like Jesus?
Why do I have to act like Jesus? And we want you to understand and know that denying yourself, taking up your cross, following him, changing your why, when you do that, being the bigger person, being the first to apologize, being the first to reconcile, it won't feel like a burden anymore. It feels like I'm walking like Jesus and there's something bigger. There's a reward on the other side of this that's bigger than my feelings.
Yes, bigger. Your ministry is bigger than you.
You better say that.
It's bigger than it is. It's bigger than your feelings. I remember I was teaching before and I said something along the lines of, do what God told you to do and let your emotions catch up. You got to do what God told you to do, regardless of how you feel about it. Eventually your emotions, your feelings and all that, it'll catch up. Just do what God told you to do.
Exactly. And if you do what God told you to do, I promise you, the hole that you're feeling in your heart will be filled. And for some of y'all, the hole that's in your bank account will be filled too.
Listen.
Because even though I took a significant pay cut, both of us took significant pay cuts to do this, but God has provided. And there hasn't been any holes. There hasn't been anything lacking or there hasn't been anything missing with significant pay. I took a 6-figure pay cut before I started doing this. And so there hasn't been any holes or anything. And so now when I think about why do I have to be the bigger person, it's not why do I have to be, but I get to be.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
Nah, you weren't going to say that.
I was. You get to be. I was definitely going to say that.
You get to be the bigger person. You get to look like Jesus. You get to walk like God. You get to walk like he did on the earth.
Yeah.
And when I get to do that, you better understand there's blessings behind that. You better understand that stepping out and putting yourself out there to take up your cross, to follow him, there is power on the other end of obedience. And not obedience because you have to. It's obedience because you want to.
Right. It's that shift.
It's the shift. And so what I hope today is that we've given you something tangible, that we've given you something applicable. We've given you something that you can take the next step. If you got any questions for us in regard to this episode, put them in the comments. We're going to look at all the comments. We will answer the comments. We might do a whole nother podcast just on your question. Or we're talking about potentially doing some lives every once in a while. And so as we get going, if you guys got some great questions around what we've talked about today, we'll even do some lives around your questions and even take questions through your lives.
Right. And if you have some topics you would like us to talk about, you can put those in the comments too. Amen.
And so we just want to thank you for joining us today for Let's Talk About It. And go ahead and look at the end screen when it come on, because we got another cool episode for you that's going to tie right into this. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
See y'all next time.
See you next time.